Imagine this. Two people start in the exact same place in life. Same income, same neighborhood, same opportunities. Fast forward 10 years, one is living with freedom, security, and choices. The other is stuck, frustrated, and broke. What made the difference? It wasn't luck. It wasn't IQ. It wasn't even opportunity. It was habits. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you the 5 invisible habits that quietly are destroying lives, and how cutting them out can put you ahead of 99% of people. I want to share these with you because once you see them, you can't unsee them. More importantly, you can avoid them. I've watched this pattern for decades. Whether it's in business, relationships, or just life in general, the same mistakes keep people stuck in mediocrity, while a small group breaks free and thrives. The difference isn't luck, connections, or even intelligence. It's awareness. So, let me ask you something. Are you ready to be brutally honest with yourself? Because what I'm about to share might sting a little, but sometimes the truth hurts before it heals. The first trap, and this one gets almost everyone, is giving up too soon. I see it everywhere. Someone starts a diet, exercises for 2 weeks, doesn't see dramatic results, and quits. They start learning something new, face their first real challenge, and walk away. They begin a project, hit an obstacle, and decide it wasn't meant to be. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a gentleman, let's call him Frank, who was 67 years old when he decided to learn photography. Not just taking pictures with his phone, but real photography. His family thought he was having some kind of midlife crisis. Frank, they said, you're retired. Just relax. But Frank had a different idea. He bought a camera, took classes, and started practicing every single day. The first year, his photos were terrible. I mean, really bad. But here's what Frank understood that most people don't. The magic happens after you want to quit, not before. 2 years later, Frank was selling his landscape photography online. 5 years later, he had a gallery showing. Today, at 74, he travels the country teaching photography workshops to other seniors. Frank didn't have special talent or connections. He just refused to quit when quitting felt logical. See, most people treat obstacles like stop signs. But what if I told you they're actually just speed bumps? The only difference between someone who succeeds and someone who doesn't is this. Successful people keep going when unsuccessful people stop. Think about it. Every single thing you use in your daily life, your smartphone, your car, even the chair you're sitting in, exists because someone refused to quit when things got difficult. If Thomas Edison had given up after his first 1,000 failed attempts at the light bulb, we'd still be sitting in the dark. But here's where it gets interesting. Persistence alone isn't enough. Because once you stop quitting, the next trap is just as dangerous, living for approval. Let me paint you a picture. You're at a family gathering, and you mention you're thinking about starting something new. Maybe it's a small business, maybe you want to write a book, or perhaps you're considering going back to school. What happens next? The responses come flooding in. Aren't you too old for that? That sounds risky. Why don't you just enjoy your retirement? What will the neighbors think? And here's the trap. You start believing that their comfort with your dreams matters more than your own excitement about them. You begin waiting for permission that will never come. You postpone taking action until everyone approves, which means you never take action at all. If you're waiting for everyone to clap before you move forward, you'll never move at all. I learned this lesson the hard way many years ago. I had an idea that everyone thought was crazy. And I mean everyone, friends, family, even some very smart people I respected. They all had reasons why it wouldn't work. Valid reasons, logical reasons. For months I wrestled with their doubts, trying to convince them, trying to get their approval before I moved forward. Then one day, it hit me. I was giving other people control over my life. I was letting their fear of my failure become my fear of even trying. That's when I realized that seeking approval isn't just a waste of time, it's a form of self-sabotage. Here's what I wish someone had told me earlier. The people whose approval you're seeking often haven't accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. They're projecting their own limitations onto your possibilities. They're not being mean, they're being protective. But protection and progress don't mix. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying ignore all advice or feedback, but there's a difference between seeking wisdom and seeking permission. Wisdom comes from people who've been where you want to go. Permission comes from people who want you to stay where you are. The most successful people I know have learned to generate their own approval. They've developed what I call internal validation. They know that confidence isn't something you wait to feel, it's something you create through action. Every small step forward builds the foundation for the next one. Think about the seniors you know who seem most fulfilled and energetic. I bet they're not the ones who spent their lives asking for permission. They're the ones who decided what they wanted and went after it, regardless of what others thought. Don't outsource your confidence to other people. Self-belief is the currency of progress, and you're the only one who can mint it. But approval isn't the only distraction. Many people chase investments before investing in the one thing that matters most themselves. Walk into any coffee shop and you'll hear conversations about stocks, real estate, cryptocurrency, or whatever the investment flavor of the month happens to be. Everyone's looking for the next big opportunity, the perfect portfolio, the secret to financial freedom. And don't get me wrong, investing is important. But here's what most people get backwards. They try to invest their money before they invest in their ability to make money. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have $1 million in the stock market or the knowledge and skills that could generate $1 million? I know what you're thinking. Why not both? And you're right. Eventually you want both. But sequence matters. Because stocks and real estate are fine, but skills, knowledge, and persistence compound faster than any external investment ever could. Here's a story that illustrates this perfectly. I met a woman named Dorothy a few years ago. She was 69 and had spent her entire career as a school teacher. When she retired, she had a modest 401 Kelvin and a small pension, but she was worried it wouldn't be enough. Instead of panicking or trying to find some magic investment strategy, Dorothy did something brilliant. She invested in herself first. Dorothy had always been good with numbers, so she took online courses in bookkeeping and accounting. Then she started offering her services to small local businesses. Within 2 years, she had more clients than she could handle. By year 3, she was making more money part-time than she ever made as a full-time teacher. But here's the beautiful part. Because Dorothy had developed valuable skills, she could generate income whenever she needed it. The stock market could crash, real estate could tank, but her knowledge and abilities would always be worth something. This is what I mean by investing in yourself first. Every new skill you learn, every bit of knowledge you gain, every experience that challenges you, these are assets that no market volatility can touch. And here's something exciting specifically for seniors. You have advantages in this game that younger people don't. You have perspective, patience, and often more time to focus on learning. You're not juggling young children or climbing corporate ladders. You can be strategic about what skills you develop. Maybe you've always been good at organizing things, learn project management. Maybe you're a natural teacher. There's a huge market for tutoring and coaching. Maybe you have decades of experience in a particular field. Consulting could be your goldmine. The key is recognizing that your existing knowledge and experience are the foundation, not the ceiling. Every new skill is an asset that pays dividends forever. But you have to be careful where you learn these skills, because the wrong teachers can cost you more than money. And speaking of assets, let's talk about the voices we listen to, because the wrong ones can cost you more than money. This might be the most expensive mistake people make, and they don't even realize they're making it. They take financial advice from broke people, life advice from unsuccessful people, relationship advice from people who can't maintain relationships, business advice from people who've never built a business. Would you let someone who's never built a rocket tell you how to launch one? Of course not. Yet we let people who've never achieved what we want to achieve tell us why we can't achieve it. I see this constantly. Someone gets excited about a new opportunity or idea, and the first thing they do is ask their neighbor Bob what he thinks. Now, Bob's a nice guy, but Bob has been working the same job for 30 years and complaining about it for 29 of them. Bob has never started a business, never taken a calculated risk, never pushed beyond his comfort zone. Yet somehow, Bob's opinion about your dreams carries weight. Here's the thing about Bob, and we all have a Bob in our lives. He's not trying to hurt you. He genuinely believes he's protecting you. But Bob's advice is filtered through Bob's fears, Bob's limitations, and Bob's experiences. Bob can't give you a roadmap to places he's never been. I learned this lesson when I was young, and made the mistake of asking everyone for their opinion about everything. The janitor at my office had opinions about my business strategy. My uncle, who'd never invested $1, had strong feelings about the stock market. My neighbor, who'd been divorced 3 times, wanted to give me marriage advice. What I realized is that free advice is often worth exactly what you pay for it. This doesn't mean you should ignore all input or become arrogant. It means you need to be selective about whose opinions you value. You need to consider the source. If you want to learn about investing, find someone who's actually built wealth through investing, not someone who just talks about it. If you want advice about starting a business, talk to someone who's actually started and succeeded with a business. If you want to know about maintaining a healthy relationship, talk to people who've been happily married for decades. Look for pattern recognition. The people worth listening to have consistent results in the area where you want their advice. They've not just succeeded once by accident, they've succeeded repeatedly through different challenges and market conditions. And here's a secret. These people are usually more accessible than you think. Most successful people are happy to share their knowledge with someone who's genuinely interested in learning and willing to take action. They remember when they were starting out and someone helped them. But you have to be willing to seek them out instead of settling for whoever happens to be convenient. The internet has made this easier than ever. You can find mentors through books, podcasts, online courses, or professional associations. You can attend conferences or join mastermind groups. The knowledge is out there, you just have to be intentional about finding it. Only learn from proven, trustworthy sources. Your future is too important to leave to amateur hour. But even with the right mentors, there's one relationship that can silently destroy your progress faster than any bad advice ever could. This one's going to hit close to home for some of you, and I want you to know I'm not suggesting anything drastic, but we need to talk about the people closest to us specifically, our life partners, and how they can either accelerate our growth or quietly sabotage it. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Your environment matters as much as your effort, and your partner is the biggest part of your environment. I've seen it happen countless times. Someone gets motivated, starts making positive changes, begins pursuing a dream they've put off for years. They're excited, energized, making progress. Then, slowly but surely, the enthusiasm starts to fade. Not because the goal became less important, but because the person they go home to every night doesn't share their vision. Maybe it starts small, a little eye-rolling when you talk about your project. Comments about how you're spending too much time on that thing. Subtle undermining, disguised as concern. Don't you think you're getting a bit obsessed? Or maybe you should be more realistic. A partner who doesn't believe in you will quietly sabotage your future. A partner who supports you will multiply it. Let me tell you about two couples I know, both retired, both started new ventures around the same age. The first couple, let's call them Jim and Carol, had been married for 40 years. When Jim announced he wanted to start a woodworking business, Carol's response was immediate and negative. "We're supposed to be relaxing," she said. "We don't need the stress." When Jim bought his first set of professional tools, Carol complained about the expense. When he spent evenings in the garage working on projects, she made him feel guilty for not watching television with her. Jim's business never got off the ground, not because he lacked skill or market demand, but because he was fighting a war on two fronts, building something new while defending his right to do so. The second couple, Robert and Linda, had a completely different dynamic. When Robert expressed interest in starting a consulting business based on his decades of experience in manufacturing, Linda's first question was, "How can I help?" She helped him set up his office, learned about social media to help him market his services, and bragged about his expertise to everyone she met. Robert's business thrived, but more importantly, their relationship grew stronger. They had a shared mission, a common goal. Linda wasn't just Robert's wife, she was his partner in every sense of the word. The difference between these two outcomes wasn't talent, market conditions, or luck. It was the quality of support at home. Now, I'm not saying you should leave your spouse if they don't immediately embrace every idea you have. Relationships are complex, and people express concern in different ways. But I am saying you need to pay attention to the pattern. Does your partner generally support your growth, even if they don't understand it? Do they celebrate your wins and encourage you through setbacks? Do they believe in your ability to learn and adapt, even at this stage of life? Or do they consistently find reasons why your ideas won't work? Do they make you feel selfish for wanting more out of life? Do they prefer the version of you that stays small and predictable? Success isn't just about money or achievement, it's about who you build it with. The most fulfilling success stories I know involve couples who grew together, who pushed each other to be better, who created something meaningful as a team. If you're single, this principle still applies to your closest relationships. Surround yourself with people who see your potential, not just your past. Choose friends who ask, "How can I support you?" Not, "Why are you doing that?" Life is too short to spend it with people who make your dreams feel smaller. You need cheerleaders, not critics, especially in the people who share your daily life. When you eliminate these 5 habits, when you stop quitting, stop seeking approval, stop chasing shortcuts, stop listening to the wrong voices, and start choosing supportive relationships, something magical happens. You unlock the truth about wealth and success that most people never discover. And that truth is this: wealth isn't what you chase, it's who you become. Let me explain what I mean. Most people think wealth is about finding the right opportunity, being in the right place at the right time, or having some special advantage. They're always looking outward: what stock to buy, what business to start, what lottery ticket to scratch. But every truly wealthy person I know will tell you the same thing. Wealth is an inside job. It's the result of developing the right mindset, habits, and character traits. It's about becoming the type of person who naturally attracts opportunities and knows how to capitalize on them. Think about it this way. If you took away all the money from someone who's genuinely wealthy, not just lucky, but truly wealthy, what would happen? They'd rebuild it. Maybe not to exactly the same level, maybe not in exactly the same way, but they'd rebuild it because they still have the most important asset, themselves. The habits that create wealth are the same habits that sustain it. Persistence when others quit. Independent thinking when others follow the crowd. Continuous learning when others think they know enough. Choosing the right influences when others settle for convenient ones. Building supportive relationships when others tolerate toxic ones. These aren't just success strategies, they're life strategies. They make you not just wealthier, but happier, more fulfilled, and more resilient. And here's the beautiful part. It's never too late to start becoming this person. Age doesn't disqualify you from growth. It qualifies you for wisdom. You have decades of experience to build on, patterns to recognize, and insights that younger people simply haven't developed yet. When you cut the noise and focus, life stops being complicated. You're not competing with the world. You're competing with who you were yesterday. Every day, you get to choose. Will I be a little bit better than I was yesterday, or will I stay exactly the same? Will I take one small step forward, or will I let inertia keep me in place? Will I invest in becoming the person I want to be, or will I keep hoping that person will appear magically? The compound effect of small daily improvements is extraordinary. If you get just 1% better every day for a year, you'll be 37 times better by the end of that year. Not 365% better, 3,700% better. That's the mathematics of transformation. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. But you don't need a decade. You just need today, and then tomorrow, and then the day after that. Success isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a way of traveling. It's showing up consistently, learning continuously, and refusing to let temporary setbacks become permanent defeats. So let me leave you with this simple but powerful truth. You already have everything you need to be in the top 1% of people. You don't need more information, you need more implementation. You don't need perfect conditions, you need imperfect action. Don't quit when things get difficult, that's when the magic happens. Stop chasing approval from people who haven't been where you want to go. Invest in yourself first, because that's the only investment guaranteed to pay dividends. Only listen to proven voices, not convenient ones. Choose partners and friends who believe in your potential, not just your past. Do these 5 things and you'll be ahead of 99% of people, guaranteed. Not because these principles are secret or complex, but because so few people actually apply them consistently. Most people know what to do, they just don't do what they know. But you're different. You wouldn't have watched this entire video if you weren't serious about changing your life. You wouldn't have stayed with me for 30 minutes if you were content with mediocrity. The question isn't whether you can join the 1%, the question is whether you will. And that decision happens right now, in this moment, with whatever small action you take next. If this connected with you, don't just watch and move on. Subscribe to this channel, leave a like so it reaches other seniors, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. That way you keep moving forward with me, step by step, and who knows, you might just end up in the 1%. The door is already open, all you have to do is walk through it.